Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to episode 10 of yet another inventory series, but wait. And in this episode what we're going to look at now is, before we go into a more in-depth inventory system, we're going to look at how we can link our inventory system to things that happen to us as players. So just for simplicity, because we've got food and drink and health first aid kits there, we're going to make a player stats system. So as an added bonus, if you have already a player stats system, just look to see how you can link it to your system. I will show you the way that I do it and try and explain why I do these things. So I'm not going to do a bog standard couple of 3 straight progress bars slapped in a rough HUD. I'm going to show you something a little bit different, but you can choose whatever you like. But just to show you that you don't have to be stuck with the standard bars and things you get in the UI. You can actually make your UI look different relatively simply. And in order to do that, we need to do a little bit of groundwork first. So first thing we can do is we are going to go to our data folder. We're going to right click blueprint structure. We're going to call this player stats. Open it up. And the first one we can have is health, float, another one max health, another one hunger, max hunger, thirst, max thirst, I'm going to have first, we're going to have inventory weight. Let's see if we can open it all again. And max inventory weight. Okay, so you've got 2, 4, 6, 8 different things. So we have health, hunger, thirst, and inventory weight. Make sure we save that. We can close that down now. We don't need that. Now we're going to look at making circular progress bars instead of straight ones. So in order to do that, we need to make a material to handle that for us. Now I'm not the best at materials, but I'll do my best to show you this one. This one I've used quite a few times and it works well. So let's go to our UI folder, make a new folder. We're going to call it materials. We're going to right click, add a material, and we're going to call it M underscore circular PB for progress bar. Okay, we're going to open it up, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we highlight our big box here, go to the left, change it from service to UI, and from opaque to translucent. And where we have final color here, before I forget, we're going to make sure the opacity is 1, and we're going to set it to white. Okay, we should just have a white square on the screen. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 circles, and we'll take one circle from the other, and then we're going to use the texture coordinates to draw or mask some of that circle so that we get our effect. So give yourself a bit of space. This is quite long in length. First thing you want is a texture coordinate. 2 O's, I always forget that. That's this one here, text chord. You're going to hold down the number 1 key and click. It gives us a 1. And we're going to give it a 0.25 value. We're going to drag up here and we're going to get a custom rotator. We look down here under texturing. And this one here, we are going to put into our rotation angle. See here, it's got to be between 0 and 1. At the moment, it doesn't do anything. We're going to come up with here. We're going to add a subtract node. Hold down 1 again and click. And we're going to subtract 0.5 from there. Now we're going to hold down the 2 key to get a 2 vector. And we're going to have a multiply. We're going to multiply that with this. And we're going to have the X set at 1. And the Y set at -1. Okay. Sort of preview it and we get something like that. Then we are going to drag off of here and we're going to get a node called vector to radial value, this big long one here. And now we're going to hold down our 1 key again. We're going to get another node, but this time we're going to right click and convert it to a parameter. This is where we're going to set our percent. So we're going to call it percent. And just for now, we're going to set it to 1. Again, you still see nothing really happening. We're going to drag out of our swizzle coordinate, convert it to angle. And we are going to do an add. We're going to add this. Preview now we've got a red square. We're now going to floor this. Okay. And then just we're going to drag out of here and we're going to do a multiply. And we're going to put the multiply into the opacity. Still at the moment we've got a white square. Now we're going to do the next line. And we're going to hold down the 1 key again. And we're going to hold down it a second time and a third time. We need 3 of these. First one we're going to set to 0.5. The next one we're going to right click, convert to a parameter, call it thickness. And we're going to set it to 0.1. And we're going to subtract that from that. This value here we're going to set to 30. And we're going to get a node called radial gradient exponential. We're going to duplicate that. We need 2 of them. This value will go in the density of both. From the 0.5, we're going to go to this radius. And the output of the subtract is going to go to this radius. We're going to then subtract the bottom one from the top. And move that along. Oh. And we're going to put that into there. And now you see we have a circle. And if I go to the percent here and say 0.25, you see it gives us a quarter circle, 0.5, 0.75, so on and so forth. So here is our material. We're going to apply, save that. We can go ahead and close that. We're going to go back to our material here. We're going to right click and create a material instance. We can leave it at default name. And that is our material done. We're going to make the circular progress bar as a UI widget. So make sure we save everything. We're going to go back to our UI. We're going to right click, create a widget blueprint. We're going to call this WDT underscore circular bar. And we're going to open it up. For this, you will need to get yourself some icons. I just went on one of the many free PNG or icon sites, and I downloaded myself a burger icon for food, a bottle icon for drink, and this one for health. Bear in mind when you use any, I think I've got these from PNG Wing, but when you use anything like this from the website, whether they're free or not, make sure you check out the licensing agreement. Even though they're free, they may still want you to give them credit for their artwork. If you make sure you do that, you'll have no problems with copyrights or any other problems down the road. Okay, so they don't have to be big. They're 256, 256. And for it to work the way that I have it set up here, these need to be white on a clear background. If you want to use brightly colored icons, you can, and I'll just show you as we go along the part to leave out so that it doesn't tint them the same color as the progress bar. So we've got our icons, and we're going to start off in here. So first thing we want in here is a size box. Size box. And we're going to put it as desired on screen, and we're going to set it to 100 by 100 just as a starting point. Okay. You see it's not going to look too great until we get some of the code written, but you'll see as we go along. Now to that we want to add an overlay, because you can only put one child in a size box, and you cannot put a child on an image which we're going to be using. So then we're going to add an image. To the overlay. Now first of all, let's just double check, make sure the overlay is full. And the first image is also going to fill the overlay. Like so. No padding. Okay. Make sure it's a variable. And we're going to call it PB image. We're also going to add another image to our overlay. This one we want to make sure is central in both ways. Also a variable, and we're going to call it icon image. Okay, so we've got those done. Let's go to our PB image first. We're going to go down to our UI folder, to our materials folder. We're going to select the material instance, not the material itself, but the instance. And we're going to make sure we have our PB image selected, and we're going to add that. Now you can see we have the size of that. And just for reference as we're going along, I'm going to add the burger to this image. And you can see it's a bit big, but we will deal with that in code. Okay. That's all we need to do here in the designer. We now need to go to our graph. And we need to make ourselves 3 little functions. So let's start with the first one. First one is going to be set %. We'll make them and then we'll fill them out. Second one is going to be set bar and icon color. And the third one is going to be set image and PB size. Okay, and we will also need a few variables. So the first one is going to be % value, and this is going to be of type float, and we're going to make sure this is instant editable. And just to make it easier to find, we're going to put it in a category of settings. We can duplicate this one. We're going to call this one tint color, and this is of type slate color. Duplicate it again. This one is going to be icon image. Okay, we could change that because we've already used icon image there, so we're going to call it icon texture. And that's of type texture 2D. We're going to duplicate again. And this one we're going to call bar size. And this is of type float. Compile it. Let's give these some basic starting values. So 0.5 for % value. Tint color, got it. Make white. Icon texture, but I'm just going to choose my burger just so that we can see what's happening. And the bar size we're going to set to 100. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill out some of these functions. We're going to do % first. Set % first, probably one of the more difficult ones, although it's not that much. So we need an input on here, and it's going to be %, and of type float. Okay. We're going to now we're going to right click and we're going to say create a dynamic material instance. And the parent is going to be our circular PB instance, so we can select that. These two we can leave blank. We're going to promote this to a variable. We're going to call it material instance. We're going to go material instance. We're going to drag it in at the beginning. We're going to right click, convert to a validated. We don't want to keep having to make this if we've already got it made. Then we're going to drag in our PB image, and we're going to say set brush from material, and the material is going to be this. Okay, just drop this down a bit, gives a little bit of room. We're going to drag up here. I'm going to say set scalar. Actually, it will be easier if we drag in our instance first and say set scalar parameter value. Put it up here. Now, parameter name is, you have to be very careful when we open up our material. It's got to be spelled exactly the same way as you've spelt it here. I always recommend just to copy and paste it from the material itself, and you know you've got it 100% correct. And in there we are going to put our percent value. Okay. And then from the is valid, we're just going to join that to that. Okay, that's this function complete. Okay, the next one is a very simple one. Set bar and icon color. We need an input. We're going to call this tint color, and this is going to be of type slate color. We're going to drag in our PB image, and we're going to drag in our icon image. Now, I said when we were looking at the artwork, if you've got a brightly colored image and you want it to stay those colors, you don't want to just tint it from a white one like we're doing here, then just leave out the icon image in this part. Okay. So we can drag off one of them. We're going to say set brush tint color. Join that in here. And if you're doing it the same as me, don't forget you can add that. We can have both in the same target. It will work on both. That's all for that one. Very simple. And then the last one, set image size. We're going to drag in our bar size. We're going to drag in our size box. Now, I don't have it highlighted here. The reason for that is I didn't set it as a variable. I'm just going to name it size box. Get rid of the number at the end. So we're going to drag in our size box. We're going to say set width override. We're also going to say set height, height override. And we're going to use the bar size for each of those. Then we're going to divide the bar size by 5. This is how the math worked out to do this correctly. Then we also got, then once we divide it by 5, so we've got a fifth of the size of the bar. So in other words, if it's 10, it's going to be 2. If it's 100, it's going to be 25. And then we're going to multiply this by 3. Basically, we're getting 3/5 the size of the bar. Just found it worked out right proportion. Then we're going to get our image icon. This here. And we're going to say set desired size override. You see here, this is a vector 2D, so we can go down here, make a vector 2D, and we're basically going to use the same size. It's a square image. And that's the last of our functions done. Now we're going to put them into action. We don't want event construct. We don't want event check. We're going to put them in off of our event pre-construct. So set percent, set color, and then we're going to drag in our our icon image. You can say set brush from texture, and the texture is going to be our icon texture. And then the last is set the size. Make sure we now connect up our percent value to here and our tint color to here and compile. You look back now at the designer, you now see the burger is at a nice size that fits inside there, and that is it for our progress bar widget. We can close the circular progress bar. We can go ahead and close this. Now we want to be able to display them in a way on the HUD. So we're going to go back into our UI. We're going to create a user widget again. And we're going to call this WDT Player Stats. We're going to open this up. The first thing we're going to do is get a border. Okay, I'm going to go as desired on screen, so it's going to be a bit small, but it will soon grow. Doing our border, we're going to set the tint to 0. But again, if you want a bit of color background, up to you. This is just how I'm doing it for this example. We're going to draw it as a rounded box. We're going to draw a fixed radius of 10. And we're going to draw on a width of 2. And the color, we're going to use the grey that we've been using all along. And at the moment, you see it looks a little bit weird, but it will soon sort itself out, don't worry. We're now going to add a horizontal box. And in this horizontal box, we are going to make sure it's stretched. And we're going to give it a padding of 10. See, we've got a circle. That's okay, don't worry, it will sort itself out. Now we're going to find our circular progress. Look, our widget circular progress. We're going to add 3 in here. And now you can see we're a little bit better. We're going to name the first one Health. Make sure it's a variable. Second one we're going to call Hunger. And we can get rid of the PB74 at the end, or the 74 at the end. And the third one we're going to call Thirst. Tidy it up. Get rid of the number at the end. And then we're going to add a spacer. We're going to put a spacer between the health and hunger. And we're going to put another one between hunger and thirst. We can select and control select them both. And the size is going to be in the X, which is the first one, 5. And that just spaces them out, gives them a nice little spacing between each one. So now that we have these widgets here, we'll show you how we can change them. Let's start with the health one. So if we scroll down, we get to our settings, change our tint color. Let's have it a sort of, I don't know, red, pink color, like that. A bit pastel for change. Bit bright for me. I'm going to tone that down a bit. Okay. Something like that. The icon, we're going to use a heart for. And the bar size, we are going to set for these at 50. Don't need it quite so big. Now it's going to look a bit strange until we do all of them, so don't panic if it all squidges up like that. Go to the next one. Burger's correct. I want to change the color to a pastel greeny color. Make it look a bit different. And again, 50 on our bar size. And the first one, we're going to change to our bottle. 50 on the bar size. And now you see they've all gone square again. And we're going to make that sort of pastel blue. So now you can see our bars are all changed, the icons are changed, the bar colors have changed. Like I say, if you've got brightly coloured icons you want in the middle, and you don't want to change that in the widget, don't connect it up to the bar colour. Don't connect the widget up, just the bar. Okay, so now we have our widget here. We're going to go to our UI folder, and we're going to go to our HUD UI. Get the bottom message one here, we're going to duplicate this. And we're just going to call this, rename it, we're going to call this stats container. The anchors for this we're going to set to the bottom left. And what we're going to do then is we're going to get our player stats, drop it in the stats container, drop it in the stats container, thank you, and you can see it's there. So let's just move this, move the padding from there, we don't want any padding. So let's move this a little way, let's say 25 by 25, well, I think it's minus 25. Go up, just take it out the corner a little bit, put it wherever you like, wherever suits you. So now if we play the game, we see we have our HUD here, our player stats HUD here. Okay, so we've done the prep work. We've created our circular progress bar. We've created a container to put them in, and we've added them to our HUD. In the next one, we will be writing the code to reduce the player stats, and also when we eat or drink or take a health kit, how we can replenish those stats. I hope to see you in the next one. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Take a look at my Patreon if you want to support me or buy me a coffee. Everything will be appreciated. Bye for now.